That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Rockwell timepiece says it is time. So come on in, stay a while. It's time to get coached up with another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. That's right, Rockwell is now a proud partner of the Coach Scott Field Show, and I'm thrilled to be a brand ambassador for Rockwell. Go to rockwelltime.com and use the code COACH20 for 20% off of any order. And now through the holidays in December, with Christmas on the way, there are tons of great discounts there at Rockwell on some amazing merchandise, beautiful watches, and all kinds of beautiful drip, as the youngsters say. So, again, follow the Coach Scott Field Show on Facebook, smash that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, Summer Comstock and I say, phew, we're about to put that flavor in your ear. Watch us on DBTV every day, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we can be seen in over 300 million households. That's right. Our viewers are going to be introduced to Miss Heather and the fascinating stories that she has. See us on CSTV on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and the Rewind Sports 60. I appreciate your continued support, and let's have a lot of fun. So without further ado, thrilled to welcome back our guest, Summer Comstock. Summer, welcome to the show, and thank you. And here I was bragging about not having any glitches, and we just had one.
Yeah, no worries at all.
So, Summer, I'll kick it off again because we just had a great 12 minutes that everybody's going to miss, and they won't understand but you and I. So, uh, let's talk about what did sports mean to you, and how has sports helped you get to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, kind of as you and I were talking about before, um, I don't, I don't think the version of me I am now exists without sports. Started playing, t-ball when I was 4 or 5 years old. My parents loved sports; they got me into everything, so wasn't long. I was playing multiple sports. It was everything I did. It's how I made all my friends. It got me to college, it's everything I am, and I think everything I wanted to be. Like it gave me everything I needed out of, youth and now my career. So
Yes, and
means the world.
right, and following up on that, talk about the life lessons that you learned through playing sports, even as an adolescent, becoming a teenager into your adulthood.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you hear it a lot, but it's just so true. But just toughness, and grit. And we touched on earlier perseverance. I think the biggest one for me is confidence, just which plays into, I think, all of those. Like once you get that confidence in yourself, okay, I can move on. Like I can tackle this challenge. So I think that's kind of like the core thing is the confidence that develops and then helps those other skills develop, and then they transform into everything you do outside of sports. So
Right. And as you and I had our conversation earlier, there's so many parallels between life, your personal life, your professional life, and sports. And you mentioned perseverance. You suffered a traumatic injury. Share with our viewers what happened to you on that day down in, Florida, where, there was just a collision.
yeah, for sure, it was a beautiful day in South Florida. Just
Was a beautiful.
yeah, started out as a nice story, but yeah, I played left field for the St. John's Red Storm. Go Johnnies. We were down in South Florida playing University of South Florida, and actually at the time, I think he's still there. Their head coach is Ken Erickson. He's the head coach for Team USA. So, even though to us this was just a conference game and, we're just going for conference, standing at that point, if you get a shot to play in front of the coach of Team USA, you go all out. But on that note, it was a routine play in the outfield, just kind of a drifting ball. I camped up under it, and I had already caught it and was getting ready to throw, and my center fielder kind of was just running. She was playing her heart out too, running as hard as she could and tried to duck out of the way. And when she tried to duck out of the way, her shoulder went right into my tibia fibia, dislocating her shoulder and shattering my tib fib, um, which I immediately went into shock, which was great. I had no pain. and I was just kind of on the field, like talking about we had smuggled in some chocolate covered cherries into the dugout, and I was like, yeah, I think I should use some, I could have some of those right about now. Um,
Wow.
but after that, I developed what's known as acute compartment syndrome, which essentially my legs were too in shape to swell. So when you break your leg, your body swells. It's just a natural reaction, and mine couldn't. So everything just kind of compartmentalized, and my veins and my nerves and all of that just start exploding. Essentially, it's a medical term, exploding. Um, yeah, so they just started doing that. So I went into a surgery. I think it was like the third surgery, um, being told that they were going to amputate my leg. So that wasn't great. But I came out of surgery. It was still there. I was convinced I was hallucinating. My mom was like, no, no, they were able to save it. Like you're good. You still have a leg. Um, but that kind of kicked off a chain of between, I think it was 9 surgeries initially.
Ooh.
And to date, I've had 14, something like that. Stopped counting. But yeah, so I've pretty intense battle wounds, but still here, still kicking. Oh, and then I developed blood clots in um that whole situation. And then my life was on the line at that point because those started moving. So then I had to get on all the blood thinners and live that whole life. So
Yeah, what a traumatic injury and situation for you to have to endure. Was it a compound fracture? I mean, when you're laying there in the grass in the outfield and you're looking down, of course you went into shock as you described, but
mhm.
take us through what you remember about the collision, and then of course you laying there and being like, something's not right.
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't see her coming. I was focused on catching the ball, or I'd already caught it, and then I was working on throwing. But I didn't see her coming. And next thing I knew, I was on the ground, and all my teammates who they're your best friends, like they're all just surrounding me. And like I remember one of my best friends, she is the shortstop, and she was just over me, and she was like, "Everything's gonna be okay. This has happened to one of my friends before." And I was thinking at the time, like, "What are you talking about?" And I
Yeah.
remember like I started like pushing off the ground to get up. And then they were like, nope, and pushed me back down. And
Oh,
that's when, I looked down and the bone didn't come through the skin, but it stretched it. It was just as far as you can get without breaking the skin. So you could see the fracture through my socks. Um, and that's when I was like, okay, this is kind of bad. Um, yeah, and I started pulling out the grass too, and the University of South Florida field is just gorgeous. And I was just pulling out their grass, and I remember I started apologizing for pulling out their grass as I was
wow.
on the field. So
I'm hearing your story, and of course I know the focus and the determination. You make the catch. You're probably getting ready to get into your bunny hop. You get hit, and now the collision has put you into this whole new state. You had no idea what kind of journey you were going to be on with your recovery. You mentioned multiple surgeries. Do you remember being carted off and taken to a nearby hospital where
mhm.
there was a diagnosis? And what were those conversations like? And how early was your family notified of the incident?
Yeah, for sure. It's actually funny because now I feel like I can't remember what I did last week,
Yeah.
but everything with this injury was just so vivid
Yeah.
through it all. I remember it because they brought the ambulance in onto center field. And again, it was a beautiful stadium, and I was in shock. So I was just like, I'm so sorry.
And
I'm
the
ruining
national
your
team coach is
grass.
sitting up there.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
national team coach is there. And I just felt so bad. And
Oh,
USF airs their games locally. So it was on their TV as well. And I do remember the ambulance ride because they put me in the ambulance, and they hit a speed bump and my leg was broken. And
oh,
oh, that's about when the shock ended and the pain started. And my mom, she's one of my favorite people on earth, but they initially called her, and with being a Division I athlete, especially they live in Utah. I was in New York City. It was hard to keep track of where I was, every single day, and they thought we were playing a joke on them. So
Oh,
my parents were just convinced because I was very good friends with my coaches, and so they were like, "No, no, you're playing a joke." And finally, my head coach was like, "You need to get here." Like,
wow. Wow.
uh, yeah.
So
So
take us through the series of events, because here you are, a Division I athlete, scholarship, you're working hard, you're living out your dreams. Now you've got this injury. You went through multiple surgeries, but there was one specific doctor that I remember who basically saved the leg
mhm.
and kept you from the amputation. Do you remember? And of course, your story a moment ago, I heard you say that, yeah, you thought you were hallucinating and the leg was still there, but what was that like, laying there and then coming out of anesthesia and you looking down or feeling that, oh, you know what, the leg's not amputated?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal, like I said. And initially, yeah, I thought I was hallucinating, and then I probably like drooled a little and went to sleep for 2 days.
Yeah.
But
Well, the induced coma.
yeah, exactly. So with that compartment syndrome, they had me on some pretty intense medication, and
Oh,
I think I was in Tampa for I was like 2 or 3 weeks in the hospital there. And mind you, I played softball and from a New York team, so they had all went home. So there was a little bit of time between them going home and my parents being able to come out there from Salt Lake, that it was just like the nurses and I hanging out. And so that was kind of scary, just being in a foreign place, and your whole world was just turned upside down. Literally, I think I did a flip when she hit me. Um, so that was pretty scary. But yeah, those initial doctors, like, I don't know if they're just desensitized to it, but they were just like, yeah, it's a bad break. Like, you'll need all this rehab. But them being so calm and chill about it, I think helped me a lot.
yeah.
So
Yeah, right. So it's a fascinating story because it shows perseverance, but it also shows your mental toughness and your mindset, because you're in your mind, you're like, okay, what's the next step? Because all I want to do is get back out on the field and I just want to play. But
mhm.
take us through, for a viewer who doesn't understand competition, and a lot of our viewers from around the globe are sports people, but explain to them a mindset of focus and determination of saying, okay, we're going to have a positive outcome and I'm going to get back on the field. And how did that help you with your recovery through those multiple surgeries?
Yeah, for sure. I know, and we touched on it earlier, but um, I thought I was a bit of an anomaly to where there was no like insane low. Like there were lows when you're in physical therapy and you're in pain and just those things. But as far as like long-term softball outlook, I never like grasped that that was a career-ending injury because I was just so determined that it wasn't, that I didn't even let myself think about
Yeah,
the
you didn't even allow yourself to go there.
yeah. And so actually I remember once I got back to St. John's, my coach gave me like this pamphlet on like athletes dealing with injuries or like moving on, like some information. She had good intentions.
Yes, yes.
And I was like, what is this? And just like tossed it because it was like, I'm coming back and I'm gonna do it in record time too, because season starts in, 4 months. So
Yeah. Well, now
uh,
from that point, how many surgeries had gone through before you got back to your campus at St. John's and you had that meeting with your coach where she's giving you that type of literature?
So um, I think I had 8 at that point. And with the
Wow.
compartment syndrome, they have to open up your leg. So if you, this is going to sound gross, but like if you overheat a hot dog in the
Yep.
microwave and it explodes,
Yep.
that's what my leg looked like. So they had to take a skin graft from my thigh, like just completely take that skin down to cover up because it was just this big, just open. I mean, it looked like a shark attack or something.
Oh,
And so I wasn't even allowed to open it. And this was like 7 months later, and I was still on crutches. I'd just gotten out of a wheelchair, so I was on a wheelchair for a while. I was still on crutches, and I was like, I can catch the bullpen. Like, we'll just put a bucket in front of it. Like, I can catch the bullpen, and it's like your leg is still bleeding. Like you can't catch a bullpen. And
yeah.
I remember I totally tried, and I was like, well, if you don't let me do it here, like I'm just gonna go do it when you're not looking. And that's
Yeah.
just being young and stupid. But in hindsight. but yeah, she had the best intentions, and she knew like, okay, like this girl's health is on the line. I was on blood thinners too, which
Oh,
you can't even like stub a toe on blood thinners.
that's right. Yeah.
Um, so she really like dialed it in for me. Like, okay, like great. These are good intentions you have, but like take it down a notch. And then I actually ended up having another surgery in November, and we start season in January. So
Wow. Yeah.
I was still
Wow.
convinced though. I was absolutely convinced.
Oh yeah, you're going to be on that field. You're indispensable, and you know what? You're going to be there no matter what.
Yeah. Well, it's
Ladies and
funny
gentlemen.
actually, but so long story short, because I tried to rush it so much, it's just so bullheaded. I tried to rush it so much. We were playing University of Alabama, which they are just, they're like the New York Yankees of softball. They
Roll
just the
Tide.
dream program. And we were down there, and I'm an outfielder. So, when infielders need practice, outfielders run. And we were doing something so basic, and it was like the first day back for me, and something just like popped. Not the leg was okay, all those injuries, but the rest of my body hadn't been
Yep.
exercising for almost a year at that point. So something else did, and that's kind of when I knew that, all right, this is probably not going to happen. And that was a low when that initially happened. But then again, I was like, but it will. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the first at bat, it was ended up being like the only one I'd had after the injury. We were playing Manhattan, and the very first pitch, I got hit in the leg by the pitch. And my coach was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is why." And she just did it as like an honorary, have a last at bat, that kind of
Sure.
thing.
Wow.
And the very first pitch, I got hit in the leg, and it was the training, like all of our training team was just like, no, like this was the worst possible scenario, but
Oh
I was
my
fine.
goodness. Wow. Well, and you think about your mindset and you think about how you struggled with the number of months of surgeries and rehabilitation and physical therapy and of course still continuing your education. So there's so many things going on that a student athlete is juggling that a lot of people don't understand. I coached at the college level for 14 years before I coached professionally. So I get it. And I admire your toughness and your grit through that. Real quick, let's shout out another sponsor. Sleep Number is and also the official sleep partner of the Coach Scott Field Show, as they are the official sleep partner of the NFL. Here in Sugar House, my buddy Todd, 801-845-9058. Give him a call where he can help you save thousands of dollars on a sleep number. A wonderful way of having a weightless sleep, which is temperature controlled. And you and I can speak on this summer to have a restful night's sleep will help you with recovery, getting back on that field.
Absolutely guaranteed.
Yeah, so give my buddy Todd a call there at Sleep Number. Again, 801-845-9058. This is one-on-one with the coach. Summer, I want to get into what Title IX has meant for you and what Title IX has done for you and how you've been able to utilize Title IX and it helped you be successful and with your career path.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I just did a little thing in our local attorney paper here in Arizona, um, on Title IX. And, I told them like up until recently, I really didn't even grasp what, you hear Title IX, it's always out there. ESPNW always does something on it. But I really didn't grasp like what it did, not just for sports, but like for my life,
Yeah.
just in
Yeah.
general. So, Title IX gave females so much more access to sports. And with that, like what I had told them was the access to sports is what gave me access to a college degree. And that college degree gave me access to law school. And law school, led to the career that I have now, which is just my dream career. And I mean, and as we touched on when we first started this, like those skills that you learn in sports are the reason I succeed in my career. And without sports, I wouldn't have those. So not only like did it create the chain of events that led, to this opportunity, it also created the skills that helped me succeed at this opportunity.
And I love to hear you say that because on the Coach Scott Field Show, I mean, we're all about empowerment. We're about, inspiration. We're about service. And you think of the sacrifices made, and how women have been misjudged or mistreated or not given the same opportunities as male counterparts. So to hear you talk about Title IX and how it caused a wave of events to help you become successful. Think of the women before you, the predecessors who didn't have the opportunities that you had. So thank goodness 50 years ago, Title IX came into effect, which allegedly, put into law that, the same amount of scholarships and funding, needs to be spread out, evenly, through these colleges and universities, which was a wonderful move.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we're celebrating 50 years this year, which is huge. But yeah, just the women, they paved the way for us. And I mean, in every respect. And for my generation, you think about the 99ers, Mia Hamm and those girls. And like I wore jersey number 9 for years because
Wow.
I idolized her so much. And I wasn't even playing soccer. Like I focused on softball
Yeah.
and just having that idol too, so you have to build upon that because while they maybe didn't have the opportunities that Alex Morgan has now, and they created that foundation, and then my generation created it, and now you see these student athletes that have NIL rights, and it's just the opportunities are just limitless, and it's so fun to see. It's so fun.
And
But I mean,
I'm glad you spoke on NIL, because to me, again, coaching at the college level for 14 years, the NCAA for decades has been very reactionary. So to finally see them be proactive and say, okay, let's let the athletes capitalize on their name, image, and likeness is so gratifying to me, because it feels like athletes have been exploited for years in a multi-billion-dollar industry, which is college athletics. So now that you have the hat on that you have, being in law, how do you see that, moving forward? And are you glad to see NIL?
I am glad to not be working in the NCAA. I think, I think it's awesome, but then at the same time, when you think of like the compliance issues and the potential for just to create even more disparity,
Yeah.
just like the whole situation surrounding that, I'm like, wow, thank goodness I'm on a team side, like, from it. But no, it is like the benefits of it. It's so cool to see. I mean, down to even if you don't have like, like an Instagram ad deal, just seeing the things like we weren't allowed, we being athletes, when I played, which was in 2013, well, 2000, like 2010 to 2013, we couldn't even like give hitting lessons
Yeah.
with and get paid. And so just down to those little things that yeah, I don't need an Instagram deal, but $200 in hitting lessons every month can do so much for a college athlete. And now that I've, went through college and law school, you see just what income disparity can do. So it's just so cool to see. Like I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
But oof, the
There's a
compliance
lot to
is going
clean.
to be
Yeah,
a mess.
there's a lot to clean up yet, but yet it's a great move in the right direction, and I'm
Yeah.
glad to see it. Now it's just, how can they, you know, keep an eye on it and keep it under control? Or is that something that's even going to be in the discussion? Because yeah,
Yeah.
it still needs to be overseen, but now you're seeing professional people from higher levels come in and take over at Duke University and some of the major schools that, now they have someone to oversee it and kind of help the athletes, navigate and make, good decisions for themselves. Because like you said, you know what? I can remember back when I was in college, when I'd get a $20 bill from my family, I thought I had $1 million.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm having biscuits and gravy Saturday.
Right. Yeah. No more ramen.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right. Such a great conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're with Summer Comstock, and we're talking about females in sports, female empowerment. And, I want you to talk about your current position, what you currently do. I mean, we see Diamondbacks there on your sweatshirt, but share with the viewers what you currently do and how much fun you're having.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually have a hoodie on today because we hosted our annual winter classic, which is we bring in, underprivileged schools, we bus them into the stadium, and then we give them backpacks and books and sweatshirts and all the good stuff. And we have a little coaching clinic, and Baxter, our mascot, is hanging around, and kids just absolutely love the mascot. So that's fun to see. But yeah, so with the Diamondbacks, I technically have two roles. I started here in 2017, 2016 as a coach with the Baseball Academy. I was the only female coach at the time, but now we have tons, which is just so awesome. And that kind of got my foot in the door. And then while I was in law school, I was lucky enough to get an internship with the legal department here. And then that internship turned into a law clerk position. And then just kind of when the world aligned, an attorney left and they needed another attorney. So now I'm the associate general counsel for the team, which is pretty cool.
Wow. So,
It's my dream job.
and I love hearing that, but you say it like it's just in jest. I'm just the, assistant attorney general. So explain what that means. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? When you get up in the morning and you head to the stadium, what is your day like?
Yeah, it's crazy. In before I came back to the Diamondbacks, I worked in private practice, and you have at least our firm, and a lot of firms like you have one area that you specialize in. And when you're a general counsel for a sports team, you literally have to figure everything out, and you have to learn all these different areas. So it could start the day, with like insurance litigation, and then it's mainly doing transactional work. So we do all the contracts for the team. On like the corporate side, because we are a business. Everyone
Right.
sees the baseball team, but we also have a big business to run here. And on top of that, at the Diamondbacks, we also have Arizona Diamondbacks events and entertainment, which is what we do all of the concerts for. Like we just hosted Elton John, Bad Bunny. We just announced Pink. So we do all of that on top of all of the other company, and then we also do everything for our foundation. So we
Oh, it's
are
fascinating.
very busy. And currently there's myself and our vice president of legal, and he's the general counsel, a paralegal, and a legal assistant, and they're just rock stars trying to keep our heads from falling off. But
Wow.
yeah, so it's every area of the law you can think of. um, it changes every hour. So
But that's so fascinating. And Summer, I'm so proud of you because, we've known each other for a while, and to see your growth and to see how you've developed and how you've matured. And here you are in your dream job. And, when you're sharing your story with me, I automatically think as when I was coming up the ranks, I remember Jeannie Buss being with the LA Lakers and her dad opening up an opportunity for her where she would oversee entertainment and things like that, and to, help things get going at the forum at that time.
yes.
So, what is your end goal with all of this, and what do you hope happens, or what are your aspirations? Because to me, I love to see someone who's motivated and driven, and you love what you're doing. I mean, here you just spent the day serving underprivileged youth, and what better thing to give back and let people kind of see it, touch it, smell it, and be a part of it to help them visualize, to maybe inspire them to be the next Summer.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I don't want my boss to hear this for, like promotion purposes, but like this is my end goal. I
Yeah.
think I got it. I think I got it a lot quicker than I thought I was gonna get it. But
Wow.
I mean, just staying here, and I just love this organization so much. I mean, it's such, you hear like family, but like we really are here. And just everyone, down from the owners down to our guest relations to security, like everyone knows each other. And it's such an amazing place to be. I absolutely love it here. And like my boss, he's been here, I want to say like 17 years. And
Wow.
our boss before that she actually started her own DEI consulting company, and is just like a rock star. She was here for 23 years something, and she worked for the law firm that helped bring the Diamondbacks to Arizona, worked for the Suns before that. So, and if you ask anyone around here, like people just have the longest tenure because they don't want to leave. So my end goal is just, I mean, to do the very best I can to help this team win a championship. So whether it's just if we get all the fans involved, that builds up the players. So every little detail counts, that I think could help get us there. So yeah, just
I
to win a
love that.
championship with this team, I just would be the
I
ultimate
love
goal.
that. And see, what I hear with you kind of like between the lines is you guys have a culture. There's a culture of family. There's
Yeah.
a growth of development and professional development. There is a culture of learning and growing and evolving. And I think that's so important to be in a situation to where you are appreciated, but yet they want to see you succeed and help you grow and develop. So to me, that's what I hear Summer saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We hear it all the time here. Like it's a culture, it's a culture. And what's funny, we actually just had our we do like, an all team, we call ourselves team players. We had an all team player meeting. It was like last week. And we've had multiple people that, left the organization during COVID and are now like, no, I can't work outside of this company. And so they come back. And it's like that's just such a testament to the culture here. And like I said, it starts at the top. And our president and CEO, Derek Hall, he's just the epitome of a great boss and like a team player. And I mean, he'll talk to everyone, like he truly cares. Like I feel like he truly cares about everyone, and most of the leadership here does, and that trickles down. So it's
I
absolutely
love to hear that, and that's truly what it takes. And I know a lot of people throw around the term culture, but it's those daily actions that set that culture of looking out for each other, taking care of each other, assisting each other. So I get it and I understand, but I just want our viewers to know and understand what that truly means. It's not just a sign you hang up in the hallway that you slap when you go walking out of your office door.
Yeah, for sure. And so many people, like so many fans, they think of the team just as, as the players in the baseball operations department.
Yeah.
And well, obviously they are the glue that holds us together, or they create the foundation for us. Like the rest of the company is what makes this world go round. And it's, it turns on the lights. It's what keeps everything going. And we really do, like everyone here, just it's not a job. It's not a come here, at 8 o'clock and leave at 5. Like we care all week long. I'm wearing Diamondbacks. Like it's my identity, and most of the employees here feel that same way. So it's pretty
Oh
cool.
gosh,
I
Summer, that
don't know how I got this position. Like
oh
it's still a
no,
dream.
you've worked hard, you've made sacrifices, you've learned through the internships with Nike and the other places that you've been that have set you up for this opportunity, and you've just grasped the ring, and now you're giving back to that community, and they're blessed and fortunate to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I told you earlier, you've got Rockwell stuff all over. They gave me my very first sports internship.
Isn't that
It was just
cool?
so cool. Bryce and Tim over there, and they were out of the little airplane hangar in that city up by the lake. I can't remember it now, but they gave me my very first shot, which, opened the door.
Yeah, up and bountiful.
Yep, yep. So Nike
Oh,
saw
they're
that, thought it was cool, and then, again, just those little things that opened the door for the rest of the things. So
That's so cool. We were talking earlier, and you mentioned Mia Hamm. So think about who were your role models, because today's society, everybody's so visual because of the technology and YouTube. But when you were growing up, who were the role models that you aspired to be like? I heard you say Mia Hamm
yeah.
before, but who was like the softball person that you're like, man, I want to be Jenny Finch, or I want to be whoever.
I absolutely adore Jenny Finch. Like loved her so much. And I've never been able to see the footage, but I heard, USF after I broke my leg, the next team, I think they played Florida, someone, but Jenny Finch was actually doing the commentating, and she touched on a story of how I had developed a great friendship with one of the USF girls because she came to visit me like every day in the hospital. And
Wow.
so Jenny Finch actually, like knew my name as much as it sucked. It wasn't like I did something great, but
Oh, but that's
uh,
amazing. Yes.
yeah. But other than Jenny Finch, it's kind of just a small softball world. I absolutely idolized everyone on the UCLA softball team. That's all I cared about was UCLA softball. And their shortstop was number 12, Jody Legaspi. And
Oh,
I just idolized. She was a stand-up human. Like you could tell off the field, she was a great person. I idolized everything about her. Like, and this copyright infringement, but back in the day, I had
you're
like,
speaking like a true lawyer.
yeah, right. I'm about to like get arrested here. I would just record them playing in the Women's College World Series, and I would just watch those tapes and just learn everything about what they did. And lo and behold, when so I started college softball at a junior college down in California, and my second year there, we got a new coach, and it was Jody Legaspi, and I was like, what
Wow.
are the chances? Like the woman that I idolize. And you know what? She was everything that an idol needed to be in person. Like, I mean, she turned out to be the person I thought she was. So,
Yeah, I love it
uh,
because that doesn't happen
awesome.
very often, Summer.
No,
Think about it. We
yeah,
have this we have this expectation and this image in our mind, and all of a sudden then we meet our stars and this like, oh, but character means a lot. So to hear that, she had that outstanding character and was obviously a mentor for you. I
yeah.
mean, speak on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I idolized everything about her. And then I get there and she just happens to be the coach at the school I'm already at. You know, she's the
Oh,
new coach. Um, and I mean, before her, our coach was a rock star too. I was always like, I don't want to say like a suck up, but I definitely bought into coaching and now I coach. So like I get it. But I was definitely like, you know what? Yeah, they've been here before. Like she's, a four-time All-American, like national championship. I think she knows what she's talking about. And so, and the coach before was an Olympian. So, it's like I think they know what they're talking about. And so I bought in again to culture. That's another thing. Like if you have a good culture, you'll get buy-in and people believe in the mission, and that all starts at the top. So
that's right.
they did that, and I totally bought in. And I remember there's one incident where she probably doesn't remember, and I just still like kick myself in the butt for it. We were walking out of a game. I don't know if we won or not, but I was just like swinging my bat and just, like kind of just, I don't even know what I was doing, and just like barely tapped it and hit like a handicap parking sign. And she just immediately was like, no, we don't do that. We respect property, and just like those little things. And it stuck. Like I never did it again. Like,
The details.
just the
It's
little
all
thing
about the details.
outside of softball. Like that's not even a softball lesson. It was just like and I knew better. And she knew that I knew better. She just, in that one moment, I wasn't even thinking. I was a 18-year-old kid, but and she was just like, nope, we don't do that. We're stand-up athletes. We respect people's property. And just those little things, like that's the smallest little incident I can think of that she was so awesome in
I
every
I
respect.
love that because she took advantage of a teachable moment just to emphasize the importance of something that little
Yeah.
that stuck with you. That I'm sure in the same situation now you would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and mind you, she's a UCLA woman, so she's got the Coach Wooden pyramid of success probably just like ingrained into her head. So
See, and now you're preaching to the choir because I'm an
yeah,
Indiana boy and
yeah,
John Wooden being a Purdue guy.
yeah,
Hey, come on now. We're speaking the same language. I can tell we could have stories forever. I love
right.
this.
I know.
So Summer, I love hearing these things. And I heard you mention your mom earlier. Was she your biggest uh, influence off the field as far as character and development? Talk about that relationship.
Well, if I said yes, I'd immediately get a call from my dad being like, "What the heck?" So, I
So
mean,
your
you all,
political answer is
well, I mean, I don't want to sound like, I mean, people say this constantly, but like it takes a tribe. They both completely bought in. And
true.
without them both doing it, my dad missed so much work. My mom worked, she's in tech, so she's worked remotely almost her whole career. And she would park up in the outfield with her laptop, and there's actually one funny story where she was watching the wrong game because she was doing an interview and we had moved fields, and it was just the funniest thing ever because she was so there and just she was so supportive and drove me to every game. And my dad did the same. His nickname actually was Team Mom Tom, because he was just so in it. They were both in it. He was fields crew for my high school. They completely bought in, and it's because of them that uh I'm here today. But both of them, they are just forces of nature, both of them. Like if you even so much got even the slightest bit down on yourself, it was like really like you're better than that. You're gonna come back. Like the time you're spending being negative, you could have been working on getting better. So
Yeah.
like, let's go. And as like a teenager, you're like, oh, you don't care. But it was the best
just
thing ever.
just channel that energy into something positive and you're going to have a positive outcome.
Yeah,
Your family are phenomenal people and but I'm glad you had that wonderful support system.
yeah.
Talk about what it is to have that support system to help you through those tough times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when I broke my leg, obviously I had to move back in with them. And it went from being, this independent living in New York City athlete to all of a sudden I'm like in a bed in suburban Utah, like back with my parents. And they were just absolutely great. I mean, my dad and mom, they did everything to keep my attitude up, if whether it was, like willing me to a Utah Utes game, or just getting me out and getting fresh air. My dad took me fishing once, like in a wheelchair. He had to like mob me through a trail to get to the little lake. It's just they bought in, they were so into it and so all about their kids that it was, we're going to do everything to make it, this is your dream, this is our dream. And so it was, make it happen and we'll support you. So
Oh, it's so neat to hear that. Um, I mean, here we've already been talking for almost 40 minutes, and it just feels like Christmas Eve where things are going so fast, and I just don't want this to be over because I think you're sharing so many wonderful nuggets to help people know and understand what it takes to be successful. And here you are in your dream job. You got to intern with Nike. Talk about that Nike internship a little bit that kind of helped you see that, you know what, there is a sports industry out there. There is, sports business out there. And that could, I mean, that obviously led to you being to where you are now. But talk about the importance of having a post career mindset to say, okay, what am I going to do when the ball playing days are done? Because that's a tough transition for many athletes.
yeah, for sure. I don't even know where it started, but somewhere in my mind when I was like 15, I got it in my head that I was going to own the Los Angeles Dodgers. Like
I love it.
now looking at their valuation, I'm like, okay, look, you're not going to do that being an in-house attorney. But, I had that in my mind. And I was in Utah. So I was removed from essentially everything but the Jazz. And then we got Real, but that was pretty late, I think I maybe already lived in New York at that point. And so I was just so obsessed with working in sports because I loved it. And my mom is so integral to that because she, like I said earlier, she works in tech, but she's a recruiter. And she recruits for like the highest level at these tech companies. And she just taught me things that were just so basic. I'd heard her on the call in cars for years, just on all these different calls, doing all these different interviews. And to her it was like, okay, if you've got that dream, well, like, let's make it happen. This is how you find the right people. This is how you hack email systems. Not hack, but and it's like summer.comstock, or just keep trying. And so she definitely instilled like that if it's your dream, then you got to go out there and get it, but these are the tools that you need to get there. So pretty early on in my career, I realized, people don't just graduate high school and own the Dodgers, or just graduate high school and get a front office position in baseball, unless, you're a pitcher that had Tommy John surgery and now needs a front office job, or something like that. So I just started studying resumes. She had access to all of this software. And so I just started studying resumes to see, okay, how did people get there? Because I'm not there yet, but you have to start with little goals to get to that huge end goal. So it was just chipping away. It was just chipping away. And so I can't even tell you how many resumes I read. And it's like, okay, they did this for 2 years, they did this for 3 years. And the overarching theme was people just essentially needed to get their foot in the door. And I knew if I just got my foot in the door, I would show them that, okay, I'm your girl, like this, I'm going to get in and I'm never going to leave. And that's pretty much like when I moved back here for law school to Arizona. I started with the baseball academy and I was in law school. I love baseball. I love coaching, but like law school, you don't have a whole lot of time. So I made time because it was like, if I just get in, then when that legal internship becomes open, everyone's already going to know my work ethic and I'm going to know the organization. I'm going to know what these events are that they're drafting agreements for. And so I did that. And then that actually led to ASU Law has the Alan Bud Selig, the former commissioner of baseball.
That's right.
Yeah, he has our scholarship program. And so I was able to then get that scholarship after I was a baseball academy coach. And because of that and the scholarship, I then got this legal internship. So it's just chipping away. The Nike internship was 2012, so 10 years ago. 10 years ago, that one little internship just, opened up the doors to just keep chipping away. You're not going to get it now, but 10 years down the line, you will. And look, that's where we're at now. And
I love it.
it sounds so simple, but reading those resumes and just seeing, okay, this is how long people spent at each spot. So,
Yep. And see, when I hear you saying that story, I hear the process. I hear the step by step of getting to that end result, that you had an ultimate goal, and whatever it took for you to get to that end goal, you were ready to brand yourself and put yourself in a position through that process to network, meet the right people, but yet more so let people know who you were and what your aspirations were so you could get to that end goal.
yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, like some moments just sucked. Like
Amen.
first year of law school just sucked. There's no sugarcoating that. It's
Yeah.
awful. Like everything about your first year in law school
Sometimes you just
is
got to
awful.
embrace the suck, right?
Yeah, you just gotta, and it was just like just plow through it. It was just plow through it. Like it will work. Just make it. Just survive finals. Like just get through it. And so I think like the attitude of just get through it. Like
Well,
Nike says, just do it, but I'm like, just
yeah.
get through it. You don't even, I don't know, but
No, you're so head on because again, here's that common theme: toughness, grit, hard work, dedication. Again, those life lessons that you started to learn, playing t-ball when you were just a youngster. So
yeah.
once again, there's those same lessons, and I just want to reiterate that so that the viewers and the fans are like, okay, it's starting to make sense. I get
Mhm.
it, and I'm sure there's people out there watching right now who are being inspired by your story and your journey, and that's what this is all about, because who are you touching who's going to be the next summer Comstock? Because there might have been an underprivileged student out there today, even though you weren't even aware of it. One person's candle does not go out because you lit the other candle. You may have ignited a fire in somebody who's going to say, I want to be Summer, you know?
It's kind of scary to think about.
oh, you're in a great position. You've worked so hard, and just proud of you. And I just want people to know what it takes, because I mean, you could have quit at the injury. You could have stopped then, but you had a mindset of, no, I'm going to get back, and you persevered. And then the next trial, then you're going through law school. Okay, you got to get through that freshman and sophomore year. You got to get through the bar exam, and yet you've rose to the occasion and clumb that ladder each step with pride, dignity, and character. And here you are today.
I think at certain points it definitely lacked. you know, when when law school rolls around and you haven't combed your hair in 4 days, but
Hey, that's just keeping it 100 right there. So there you
right.
go.
I know. I think again, just the biggest thing is, I mean, the word I haven't used, but goal setting, because
Oh,
so many athletes and just people in general, you lose your job or, um, which has happened to me, or you don't do well on a test and you think it's the end of the world. And it's like, yeah, maybe that short-term goal, you had a goal to get an A in the class and you got, a C or a B or whatever it may be. Yeah, you failed that short-term goal. Yep, you did. Own it. Like you failed that. But if you have these medium and long-term goals, it's okay. Like there's room to fail as long as you have those bigger goals. And so just having that end goal, it was like, okay, I did not do so well on that, let's figure out which one. Oh, crim or civil procedure law school exam.
that was
Didn't do
probability.
so
That was
well.
probability and stats for me. I'm like, I can't make this applicable to anything.
Yeah,
And then
right.
what do? I become a coach, and now, now everything's analytical and statistical. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
there's a reason for it.
Oh no, and same. It's completely the same here. And law school, you're graded on a curve. So I could have done very well in that class, but everyone had done well, and I still did okay, but I did use it in every single day. And I'm like such a civil procedure dork now. And I'm like, okay, you should have told this to you, in law school. But yeah.
Oh, I love it. So here we're going to go with our next segment. Our other proud sponsor, Deuce Brand, deucebrand.com. Outstanding merch and apparel, wristbands. It's for the underdog sportsman who's number two trying to be number one. Go to deucebrand.com. I usually call this buzzer beater, but today we'll call it fast pitch, just for honor of you. So give me quick one-word answers if you can.
Oh no.
Favorite stadium you ever played in?
Oh, uh, Alabama's definitely.
Okay.
University of Alabama.
Favorite restaurant?
Oh, oh, we have a taco place. Tacos Chiwas.
Okay. Favorite person in the world?
Oh, that's both my parents. So
I
they're
love
married. So technically, in the eyes of the law, they're one. So that's
it. See, there's all that litigation stuff again. Here we go.
right.
um, Favorite class to take as a litigator?
Oh, as a litigator, um, oof, I don't know. I don't do too much litigation,
Okay.
but favorite law school class? Can we settle on that one?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to say professional sports law with Professor Caleb J, who's now my boss.
Oh, great shout
Amazing
out
class.
right there. Great shout out.
Okay.
I like it. Best friend off the field.
Oh, I can't limit it to one. I won't even try. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I don't think there is an overarching one person, so I couldn't give you one.
Gotcha. Most memorable moment on the playing field at any age.
Aside from breaking my leg.
Yeah, not the traumatic one, a success.
Yeah. I'd say in junior college, I dove into a fence for a ball, and it was a pretty sick catch that saved the game. And they got a picture of it too, so that was pretty cool.
Da 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 da
Yeah.
da. That's a Sports Center top 10 right there. I love
Yeah.
it. Summer, this has been fantastic. We've got a couple minutes left. What message would you like to leave for the viewer to help inspire or empower another female out there to be the next Summer?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seems, overused, but just don't give up. Like just push through it. And even if you fail 15 times in a row, like you might succeed on that last try. Just keep swinging, I guess. As cliche as that sounds, like just keep going at it and it'll all work out. Like I can't even tell you how many times that I was like, okay, maybe I should go into sales or maybe I should not do this. And as long as you treat people the right way. I think that's a big one. Treat everyone the right way and have a good attitude toward it. If there's not going to be any stopping you. So.
Oh, see, I love that. And again, you're kind of speaking on character. Talk about how important it is to have quality character.
Oh my gosh, it is just. I mean, it's the foundation of everything. Whether you're on the field, if you have a bad attitude on the field, like good luck succeeding in the corporate world. Like they're gonna catch on, and you're so disposable. Like I don't think young athletes realize that. Like they are so disposable, and that's sad and a little hard to say. But there's 10 other people that can do it what you can do, if not better. So just if you have a good attitude and they like you, it's harder for them to dispose of you. So,
Touch on this real quick, the importance of great body language.
oh my gosh, it is just absolutely integral as well. If you think of like a pitcher, if a pitcher's up there and they see a batter come up to the box and they are just defeated before they get up there, that's going to tell that pitcher, like, gotcha, like, boosted my confidence to now take you out. Like,
I
so as
love
long as
it.
you just have that good confidence and, walk with your shoulders up almost, like, even if you don't have it, act like you got it going on and, you'll fool some people.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to have Miss Summer Comstock on the Coach Scott Field Show, leaving words of wisdom from her experience, her journey through sports, but just even her life lessons. We're blessed I'm a better version of myself just to have had you on this show, Summer. Thank you so much for being a servant heart and sharing your time and your message with all our viewers from around the world.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me and your family and just everyone around. Like, thank you guys so much.
Well, I know Kim would be so proud of your hair right now. Don't worry.
Oh no, she's probably like, why is it in a ponytail?
I love it. Hey, Summer, all the best to you. God bless. Hope to see you real soon. Happy holidays. And thank you again for being just a wonderful guest here on the Coach Scott Field Show. Be blessed. Continue to empower and inspire others, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Truly. Thank
Yes,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, again, we have been honored to have had Summer Comstock come on and share her stories, her wisdom. Again, subscribe to that YouTube channel to hear more inspiring stories from more inspiring leaders in the sports industry. But there are big cleats to fill after this show here today. Thank you so much, Summer. God
Yeah.
bless.
Thank you as well.